The house of Marvin and Doris Story, my grandparents, is in the middle of being renovated. A variety of artifacts have been discovered during the cleaning process. Among them, a framed news article describing their career as newspaper deliverers. The article inspired me to dig deeper by interviewing their 3 daughters. Can you tell me who your parents were?
Marvin and Doris Story.
And what did they do for a living?
They did a lot of things. They carried the Charlotte Observer for a number of years. They had many storages, and they also ran a nursery and had the landscaping.
The one that they seemed to spend the longest time on was delivering the Charlotte Observer. Well, Daddy delivered for 50 years, and he started in the 60s. And then Mama delivered for probably about 30 years, and she started in the 80s.
They would drive every morning hundreds and hundreds of miles through the county to deliver these papers. They would be on these paper routes 5 or 6 hours. A lot of people, when they hear, oh, they did a paper route, they think it's kind of a kid's job, but their job was an intense work condition.
They were usually up and out the door by about 2 or 2:30.
Daddy would always go to bed early. Mama would always stay up late. And then when she got back, she would go back to bed for a little while. So, you knew some mornings you were going to get up and they weren't going to be here because they would be out late doing something, and you'd sort of have to get yourself up.
I loved going with Daddy when I was little. I would want to do that on the weekends, and I would always get to sleep with him when I got to do that, and then we would get up and go on the paper route, and then he would get me Bojangles or some kind of treat at the pantry, and I would usually fall asleep on them, but that was part of the fun. And they would deliver no matter what was going on. If there was rain or snow, oftentimes Daddy would have to push the road out with his tractor or his dozer so that they could even get out.
I don't know that they ever missed a day, except in the blizzard one year when there was actually a county curfew. But they were determined to get the papers out no matter what the weather.
And during Hurricane Hugo in the 80s, they still got out and delivered, and trees were falling and roads were flooding, and they never not went. And oftentimes they had to go off the mountain to pick up the papers because the Charlotte Observer truck couldn't make it up the mountain, but they were so determined.
We would help with packing the paper change from the paper racks, because at that time there were a lot of racks around town, and we would help they would collect the money usually, we would pack it in the little wrappers, and then they would take it to the bank. My husband and I, when we were dating, we would go out and pick up the racks for them on Sunday afternoons so that they could rest and take a nap. And it would usually be sometimes as much as $2,500, $3,000 in coins that we had to pack.
Marvin and Doris both passed away in the past 5 years, but their daughters carry on, leading their own careers and embracing their parents' lessons. So you run a hair salon. Can you tell me what it's called?
Bloom Salon, and that is actually located in the building that they used to have their flower nursery in.
I work for a relief organization. They were supporters of the organization and actually did the landscaping in the early years of the organization, and so that's kind of how I got my start there.
I am a preschool teacher. Boone United Methodist Preschool. Well, like I've always told my children, that whatever you do, do your best, even if it's just cleaning toilets, to do your very best at it. And that, I think, came from my parents, because they just believed in whatever you did, you needed to give it your all.
My sisters and I have learned from that. We joke that it's a detriment at times, because there's times that we would like to just call it in, and we can't do that because of what we learned from our parents growing up.
I laugh at work sometimes. If stuff's just left out around the copier, it's hard for me to pass it by and not to clean it up or throw it away, just because they were always determined to do things the right way and make sure it was done.